So, hello guys. Recently, I've been asked for a new series from one of the people watching my videos. That person requested requested for an opening series because they didn't know what their opening should be. So before I start to make the series, and since this is the first video, I'm gonna start talking about the opening for a bit here. So opening is very open, like not as a sense of open. I'm not saying open as in open, but there is so many varieties of openings that you can choose from for black and white, and all of these have many different lines in them, making this game very more complicated. And one of the reasons I really love chess. So let's look at a line I really love as black, known as the Sicilian Dragon Variation, where black tries to get two center pawns for one center pawn for white, but white tries to get some active piece play, and in the main line there's usually opposite side castling where where things get very interesting. So let's dive in. So the first move is e4. I know they don't have to play e4. They can play d4 as well. But if e4 is played, we can play c5. This is known as the Sicilian defense, if you don't know. The Sicilian defense aims just so in this position here, if white were to get another move, they would play d4, obviously taking over the entire center, whenever I say center, it means these four pawns in the middle of the board. Because if one of your pieces is in the center, it can be very useful. Let's say a knight is on the center of the board. It's controlling one, two, three, four sides of four squares of your opponent's territory, and protecting four squares of your territory or your half of the board. So usually controlling the center and having it for a very long time is the advantage for the person who's able to do that. So in the Sicilian, you're basically saying, nope, you can't play d4. Because if I mean, you can play d4 here as well, but this move is meant to discourage white from playing d4. So there are different variations in this. So I'm going to discuss about them in another video, but let's stay let's stay in this video for now. So Sicilian defense, the Sicilian has many different variations. White could play the open Sicilian, which is knight f3 and followed by d4, or white can just sort of leave the d pawn and not play d4. So you can play knight c3, d3, and have a maintain and have just a nice center with the four pawn here, and those positions sort of look like open dragon, and usually you should fianchetto, but I'm going to talk about those also in future videos if you guys really want me to tell you. So again, let's continuing with the video. Knight f3. Turn on the engine for a minute. I don't think we need the engine for the first few moves. So e4, c5, knight f3. After knight f3, we have d6. Also e6 can be played, but to receive our open dragon variation, which is one of the variations in the Sicilian defense, uh, is going to be played by d6. So d6, then d4. This is also known as the open dragon. Black takes. It's fine for both sides, but the game is would start to become a bit sharp. So knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3. All of this is book, and g6 is a move here, e6 is a move here, and a6 is a move here. All of these are pawn moves, and have you noticed white has been developing his pieces from the start? Oh, where is the move? Knight f3. Where is d4? D6, d4 take take. Over here, e6 is a move, g6 is a move, and a6 is a move. A6 is known as the Nidor variation. E6 is known as the Skavenigan. I don't know if that's the correct saying, but it is known as a Skavenigan, or that's how I say it. G6 leads to our dragon. There's also or accelerated dragon and a hyper dragon. Hyper dragon just starts out with G6 here. Accelerated dragon starts out with over here. So and then we can have G6 and then we can fling Keto and we're gonna have a normal game where white after G6 our bishop is gonna get to G7. White's bishops can adopt a normal setup, classical variation, classical setup, sorry, and castle. Playing knight c6 is also a move actually here, which is known as the Sicilian classical variation. So they can play a classical style where they get bishop e3, bishop e2, and they castle kingside. But they can also play a variation that is very common. Or it's kind of like a plan. It's known as the yugaslov attack, where they get bishop e3 and then f3. Yes, you can play knight g4 to try to take this knight, and that's how many games go by. In like Yugoslav attack or the English attack, it started out with bishop e3, queen goes to d2, castle king side, same thing. Uh, and it's called the Yugoslav attack in this variation. It's called English, but in the English, which is a6, and then after bishop e3, we can have knight g4 in here. So knight g4 attacking this bishop, and the bishop and most games go bishop, which is it is kind of funny. So I'm going to tell you guys, most master games go like this: bishop here, knight here, bishop back, and you see where I'm getting on with this. So a6 is also a variation, and this is how many master games go. Remember, queen can't take. There's this bishop is protecting. So and grandmasters usually don't want to lose a bishop or a knight and have their pawns doubled. So most grandmasters are like this, where they have a draw. Some many grandmasters game I've seen go like this. We're just a draw, where they keep repeating the moves and it's a draw. But that's not the point. That's not the point. Let's get on d6, d4, c takes, knight takes, knight f6, knight c3, g6, g6, bishop e3, starting off with the Yugoslav attack. Bishop develops, f3, f3, and now, okay, so f3 is a very key move. So what is gonna happen is white is gonna castle king side, and when white does, black is already gonna be castles on the king side. So this king is here and this king is here. So what both both players try to do is pawn storm the other side, where they keep pushing their pawns so they can open lines to the opponent's king. And when you're pawn storming or your opponent's piece are like opened, you are fine if you let's say if this pawn you blunder on purpose. Let's just take them out of the board. Let's after some moves, right? F3. After f3, castles, queen d2. Then you can even start thinking of moves such as a4, f4 after white castles. And white is probably going to castle that way. He's not going to have his king in the center. That would be extremely dangerous. So knight c6 is a move. It's actually book. After knight c6, let's say he castles. I can maybe just start pushing my pawn right now. So, because if notice, if these two pawns, let's say I develop my bishop here, if these two pawns are off, it is very easy for me to attack. as this file is open, this file is open, and this file is open, I can attack wherever I feel. And where white would have to shift their defense while I keep attacking. Maybe like I can jump in my queen, I can get my knight in. So it's gonna get very complicated. While white is trying to push these pawns up the board, this bishop comes here, and then this rook swings over. So let's look. So that's why this pawn is very helpful. You can push this pawn without actually having to worry about any of these knight taking or bishop taking. But if you're castle kingside, you would want to set a move like king b1 because it will help you in the future. And notice how this bishop covers a very strong diagonal where no pawns are in its way. So it is a really strong bishop. So and it's like one of the key protectors because if I let's presume I had no bishop here. Many of the squares, like these squares around the king, would start to get weak. If I didn't have this diagonal and this diagonal would be very weak around my king, since I pushed the g6 pawn. So having the bishop there guarding these squares is helpful. Many uncommon ideas: bishop h6, which tries to get this bishop to trade off. So this is very complicated, as you can see, and also this bishop really doesn't have anywhere to go other. So it usually goes to d7, rook comes on ca, and a rook sacrifice on the c file is very common in these type of positions. So over here, back here, knight f6, uh black doesn't have to play oh sorry, after f right here, black doesn't have to play f3. He can go for bishop e2 and castle classical setup. That's fine. Or white can try a grand prix attack, which is f4, queen f3, and just start attacking now. The grand prix attack I think is more common when black plays a6. Notice how three pieces are eyeing up that square and the bishop. So a6, the Nido variation that is mostly preferred by masters for this reason, but the dragon is fine as well. And then after castles, game goes pawn storm. And there's a like all pawns are just pushing. So see, if you have the pawns, your pawns on your side of the board need to stay where they are. So let's say if white so after, let's say I play a4, he plays a5. Obviously, this gives me a square for my knight where it can easily jump in. But also, if I play some sort of like, let's say he plays a3, right? First of all, this wastes a tempo. And let's say I go a6 right now, right? Turn. Let's say, which I think this is book move. This should be played. Is preferred. Bishop c4. I think both are fine though, in my opinion. Bishop c7, 4 is going to be played. So here you can, let's say I played a6 and he played a3. This is going to make it a lot easier to push the pawn here. Notice how the bishop just guarding. And you usually, so here, this is fine too. It's a book move. I do believe it is fine. After a6, white can try to get b4, b5 in with tempo, but I do think the bishop is more active on this diagonal. And if ever in the future the h pawn takes, he has to take with the h pawn, and then the rook would be open down the file. So 6, right? Knight can take, but my bishop can take back. My b pawn doesn't need to take, but if my b pawn does take again, that kind of helps me open this file, but I would rather have this file open because your king is right there right now. So that's why the computer says bishop knight takes knight takes knight, then bishop takes knight. Or knight takes c6, bishop takes c6. So bishop b2. b6. So if you play a3, which is I wouldn't recommend at all. So now after b4, you now white is gonna get in another move in. Especially that's why g6 is a attacking square or like attacking pawn. Because after you get in here, then there is pressure he can take, opening up the rook. So there would be pressure. He just needs 1, 2, 3 moves to get in. And if the pawn wasn't pushed in, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 moves to actually make contact with his pawns, right? Well, he needs 1, 2, 3 if you pushed just blindly. But again, in this situation right now, we have to get our pieces coordinated. So rook's going to come there, king's going to move. So that takes 5 moves. This takes 5 moves. So it balances out. That's why whoever gets the attack first, whoever maneuvers their pieces to the right places, is probably going to be the winner. And it's basically a pawn race to see, and it is a very fun line. I would recommend people playing this. And grandmasters do play these sort of lines. So I'm going to show you guys a game with the Yugoslav attack. So so Sicilian Dragon Variation is pretty cool. I think you guys should try it out yourself. I do think you guys should try it out yourself. So no, I don't want to save the game. Analysis. Okay, so I'm just gonna play moves. I'm gonna show you guys this game. Uh, where there's a lot of attack. There's a lot of attack from both sides actually. Where white, white gets almost makes it. The white makes almost makes through, but fails at the end because cause of opponent's pawns. So let's get in. E4. So we start off with e4, e5. Knight f3, b6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6. So with our usual development, h5, h4 is played. Where is it? So e4, c5. Let's switch sides here. So e4, c5. Come on, come on, come on. Wait, what happened? Okay, e4, c5. Knight f3, b6, d4. Take, take. Knight comes in. Knight comes in. G6, bishop here, F3, castles, D2. So all of this is mainline as I've said already. All of this is mainline, as you already know. Castles, queen D2. After queen D2, castle. Sorry, I messed up move order here. So after F3, castle. After F3 was knight C6. Oof. It was knight C6, queen D2, then castle, which I personally think that doesn't really change anything, but for you guys out there, I think it is might be useful. Bishop C4, bishop D7. Then we have H4, H4. attacking the black king here. And he might just directly push this pawn. Where if knight take, because if your g pawn takes, then this pawn and both of these pawns become weak. Whereas in if you take with the knight, your pawn structure remains, but after g4 you go back. White's gonna have an attack, so you don't want him to push h5. So you push your pawn here, and one of the rules in chess is you can't if see my pawn's here, so you can't push the pawn here. So he plays h5. Obviously g4 is possible here, but it is theory. It's known to be bad for white immediately. It immediately loses. I believe due to 95, where you're attacking this and this. If you bring your bishop back, okay, I'll just show you the line. 95, 95, bishop e2, take this. There's 3 attackers on this pawn, so that blunders a pawn. But the problem in this situation is you have one rook, and it's going to be placed on a file that's kind of okay. There's going to be a piece here. There's going to be a pawn and a piece. So this file is very clogged. There's a jam on the file, so I do not think losing this pawn would help. But losing this pawn would help, and especially since you haven't castled, this is very bad for white. So going for the straight attack is not good. So you need to have a controlled attack where you manage your attack. That's why this line is more confusing, and you can't just calculate every single line and just say okay, white wins here or black wins here due to this, because many lines are different. So here I can just grab it, and here I'm threatening your bishop. If you lose this bishop is the only piece that can actually counter this are the black bishop, black dark squared bishop, which is very strong, especially since there is no pawn down the file except this pawn, and especially since after this pawn moves, this bishop's power increases as more pawns, not pieces, but pawns move out of the diagonal. So here just a heart, and if you cancel now, it's well too late. Maybe I can. No, knight can't do that. Knights can't do that. I can take here, right? That myself I wouldn't. And I can even gambit the pawn back. B5. I do want to attack because I already have a long attack, even though it's not there, but I can still attack. So b5, right? I could play b5, right? b5 take. So if castled, I can play b5. Whereas in if you take, I can take, and then take. I can go here, defending, attacking. Really, you can't. Anyways, I can't take it, but I can take this pawn then. So especially maybe even here, because after take, you lose the knight. Maybe I get my rook b8. So for this position just good. Maybe even a6 I think works. A6 goes a6 and I can go back. So I am, for you guys, you might be thinking I'm using the engine, but for some, I know these lines very well because I've played through these lines many times before, and these lines just don't work out for white. So that's why I recommend Sicilian. So rich, so deep. I do recommend playing this as black. I actually recommend any setup playing, as long as you know as long as you know that you need to play how you need to play and what plans are for black and white, which I am telling you in this video. So I think it should help you guys a lot. So where was I? Where was I? Knight game. So game he didn't play g4 immediately because we know both are grandmasters, right? So h4, h4, h5, h5, castles queenside and knight e5. So we get a castles queenside and a knight e5. This knight comes in, uh, with tempo attacking this bishop. So that's why many people prefer the bishop in here rather than here. It's less active, but then black can't get moves in like this with tempo because this with an attack or tempo, or let's just say time, as in, which is very important in these sorts of openings because it depends who gets there first. Whoever gets there first and is decisive, or basically almost not almost, but like literally defeating their opponent. That's who's gonna win. And striking at the wrong moment can also make you lose. So bishop e3, and then rook c8. This is this is book. Rook taking down this file is very common. So if that happens, I'm not gonna be surprised. I have not seen this game before, so I'm just seeing it with you guys right now. So bishop g5, rook c5, bishop g5, rook c5. So rook here is here, but you're not really gonna take this bishop unless you really, really want this bishop to be stronger than it is right. So maybe that can happen in the future. I don't know. So rook. So this rook is just nice. It can swing over here. Maybe even triple down the file, right? If you triple down the file, it's gonna be harder to do anything, especially with the X-ray going. So so rook c8, attacking here, and coming in, getting our rook on, getting everything in to attack, attack, attack. So if you're one of the people who love to attack, you can play this sort of line. Uh, if you want to play more positional, there are other videos that I'm going to make in the future, such as uh, the French defense for black, Caracan for black, English defense for white, D4 Queen's Gambit, Ninja with, like there's many openings that can be played. So this is just my first opening. I thought let's start it out with black, so why not? And then I'm gonna try to play a game and show you guys how I try to do it. But again, having a game, I think I might not do that just because it's harder for my opponent to choose specifically the yugaslov attack. So because they may not, because remember there are many sidelines that are played. So g5 is played in that game. After bishop g5, rook c5, f4, and knight c4. 4, f4, and knight comes in here. This is also very common, where you want the bishop to take and you take, and you might just take this. Knight c5. Attacking. This is a strong move. Knight c4, queen d3. Queen d3, especially strong because first of all it comes with tempo again, and notice how if you have other things to do, if you have other things to do other than pushing these pawns and they're more important, do it. Don't be like, okay, I do have to push the pawns, just do it if it's more important. And if you don't know what's more important, then figure out what's important, because you better figure out what's important. So here, a very strong move, knight g4. Knight g4 has a triple fork in mind, and if you try to stop it with move like this, you can put knight in here, attacking both of these rooks. So you have to be careful where you place your pieces, and if you move your rook, you're gonna get forked with the queen and this rook. If you move this rook here, which is very key. Sorry, excuse me. You move this here. You can move this in again with an attack on the pawn. And after this pawn is gone, you can come back and have a future attack on this pawn. Also, so basically it's kind of hard right now here. So White decided that he is going to take this knight. He took the knight. Knight f2 was played. He took the knight, but gave back a rook. Queen d2. Knight takes a1. Knight took a1, hoping the rook would take back, and it would put rook in the awkward situation where you can't push your pawn, so it's not doing anything on the file unless you're going to uplift, which is that, putting your rook on h3 then on g3, but you can uplift from the d file as well. So it's kind of and remember, if this knight ever comes here, where does it go after that? It can't go here, can't go here, it can't go here back again, and it can't go here or here, or it can never take that either because there's still this position it can't. So White doesn't even have to take back the knight, and Black shouldn't even try to get it out because there is no way get it out. Here this move is, I don't think it's good, but right now White needs to see the threat of bishop g4. That is a pretty serious threat. And does bishop b3 again, but White, but Black here. Black sees this idea, but again, you do not win this rook. So if you see some sort of an alignment issue like this, it doesn't always have to work. Because in this case, knight comes back, saves both the queen and the rook. So in many cases, that's not true. So that's why I'm pretty sure Grandmaster didn't prefer it. But I preferred it. I prefer it because first of all, it's forcing. Your opponent has to play the knight back. And it just helps your piece that's right now doing nothing get to pin a piece that's actually doing something. It's in the center, which is, as in the beginning of the video I've told, very important. But Black plays queen b6. So this is an inaccuracy. I think he should play this first. I'm gonna double check with the computer with that. So, and I think it is a good move, especially since what White played next, which is knight f3. So if he brought the knight back anyways, I do see having the bishop there instead of here is better. I mean, you're not going to play your bishop there or here, and playing it here, just staring at a pawn that's going to be hard to take. So I don't think it's going to be helpful anywhere except here. I think going now is fine, but I think so sacrificing right now seems very, because this bishop is attacking the pawn here. Yeah, so in this position, so bishop takes e7. Is there, what am I missing? Bishop takes e7. Does bishop g4 work? But then there's, oh, okay. So maybe I'm not sure. There's bishop e5, knight f3, and after knight f3, we have rook takes c3, where you're winning a piece. Especially because after take, you can first rook e8, bishop goes back. Oh yeah, bishop can take, and bishop is defending. Never mind. I thought that was a tactic. So then why play this? Why? So bishop e8. Is it just rook e8? Okay, so bishop g4, right? Bishop g4. He's probably gonna move out of the way. Knight f3 looks. Knight f3 is probably the best move here. Can the knight come out? No, probably not. Rook can come here. And then I can take. Yeah, taking. And I'm pretty sure you're. If here, I think I don't have to take immediately. I don't think I have to take immediately. So, and especially since this pawn was a knight that was protecting, future you can come here, attacking. He's probably gonna go here. You can get your queen in here. Have your oh wait, sorry. You can attack it right now. Knight g3, queen here. Yeah, queen here is annoying. Queen there. Queen e3. King e2. No, but the attack here it's hard to block. Yeah, it's hard to block now. Yeah, so maybe queen's not good. I do think this should be why. This should be why. I think white didn't take the pawn. Don't be greedy, but also just since this pawn really isn't. I mean, it is a center pawn, but again, uh, there are complications here, and I think that position just it's probably going to lead to a draw. In most cases, it's probably going to lead to a draw because this rook sack sometimes, or mostly like every time a grandmaster or anybody takes c3, I've noticed it works. But okay. So I'm not saying it always works, but it is good to have in mind that you can take the knight, right? So bishop can take e7 if they need. Bishop can take e7, but maybe knight f3 just maybe white thought knight f3 is a stronger move because then the bishop gets some access after here, here, here. I take, he takes. I can even take the pawn, and we would be equal pawns. We would. Oh wait, sorry. No, he can take the d pawn. He would be up a pawn. Being up a pawn, but there are complications. So, such as the knight coming back and possibly taking. Obviously, we have to mess with the f7 pawn as well, but this there's probably I'm pretty sure time pressure started to come on both people here. So knight f3, bishop could still go to g4. Obviously, you can take that after. But black played rook takes g5, taking the bishop because it's threatening the pawn, and there is no real way to actually kick it out. Rook e8 weakens the f pawn, which in the other line seems to make a really big. So this makes so it does make a really big problem. So bishop took here. Remember, if bishop takes back, there is this goofy little move which protects the knight as it comes back here, and you can possibly take here. And remember, the bishop is gone, so you can even push h4 and bring your knight back here, sack a pawn, right? So queen f2, and if you go queen back, remember I can't first play here. I can take, you can take, and then I can bring my knight back, and that knight is gonna slowly get annoying. But and you have gotten double pawns here. But only problem, wait, no, that's not a problem. But the thing is, wait, oh wait, yeah, yeah. Where's the rook? Oh yeah. So this sacks the exchange back actually. Sacks the exchange back, so it equalizes material. Yeah, it equalizes material. So for this reason, because after I'm gonna go here, and if you count the pawns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 2 pawns here, but white's pawns are doubled, so it makes him so he should not go into an endgame, which would now happen, like needs to happen, right? Unless, yeah, I don't really see any way. I think that mm, that is suspicious. All right, queen e1, queen d2. Those are the type of moves that are going to be good in this position for white. But trading is gonna lead to having black can benefit because you have 2 doubled pawns, and double pawns are basically like having 1 pawn because you can only push one of these at a time. This back pawn can't move right now, but this back pawn is covering key scores. So double pawns are double edge. Double pawns, double edge, double, double the double. Okay. So rook takes, pawn takes, bishop takes. So for this reason, he didn't take back. After rook takes on h1, bishop develops with tempo. Bishop develops with tempo. Queen goes back, check. Goes back, check. King here. And bishop, and the bishop comes in to a very quote not nice square. So first he goes bishop g1. That looks common. That's a common idea I've seen. So knight h4, and yes, the bishop does go to e2. Queen e1. Queen e1, it pins the queen. So you can't take this pawn, or else you'll lose the bishop, and you can't take this pawn because of, where is it? What move? So queen takes pawn. Wait, queen could take pawn. Wait, but oh yeah. Okay, so queen here could take pawn, but in the following line, basically he had a better way of taking the pawn. So queen first goes here. Queen c1 forces white to go in the corner, which isn't active. So you would rather, so what white did was play c2, queen takes, and here white did a mistake. I do think white did a mistake. So he played king a1, which I don't think is a good move at all. Bishop c2. Bishop c2 would be a better move. So this game was turning out to be complicated, but the attack just didn't reach, and we had a trade-off. And this is what's probably going to happen most of the time. Just the position is just going to cool down. But not many times, but in many rare cases, we get like a fancy checkmate on the king. So king goes a1. I do think bishop c2 was a better move. And black misses his chance. Black misses his chance. Oh wait. Hmm. Why did this? Yeah, why did this? So makes bishop c2 even stronger. Play king a2. I think this is fast pressure because uh, both of them are not making as accurate moves as before. So bishop d2. Oh, sorry, not bishop d2, queen d2. Why do I have a bad way of saying that? Here, bishop needs to come back because the rook is going to come and pin. So bishop c4. Rook came in anyways. Again, look out for the files here. So queen c6, queen c6, and finally we have a break in the center with f5. Again, white could get greedy and take, but white just wants the file to open up as quick as possible. Taking here, taking here with double the pawns. I don't know why can't it does look to be a good move. Again, time pressure. It's probably because of the time pressure, because both people were having time pressures at this point. F5, attacking move, trying to play f6. Uh, no, wait, sorry, trying to take the pawn. This file opens up, and this file opens up. But now I think it benefits black, because black then kind of develops his work, because it's now doing something, and his bishop is just guarding off the file. Hmm. So f5, bishop e5, and black said, okay, go ahead, take. It helps me. And so, okay, no wait, never mind. Oh, this knight. I didn't see that knight. Okay, so if pawn takes, white's gonna take back with the knight. Okay, that's fast, quick move. No, that the player played. I'm gonna tell you guys the name of the player after the game. So, so you guys know this game, then that's hats off to you guys. This is this is this this is I think of it, it is well known, isn't it? So bishop e5, going for the same thing I told you before. And time pressure. F takes. Bishop first trades off, and bishop comes in, attacking this, attacking this. Obviously, rook can come here defending, and g7 is played. I do think he should take this with check. I think g7 is not as accurate because g7 kind of gives white shelter from any future attacks. And you have noticed there's 3 pawns on this file. Okay, so rook e8 was played, protecting the pawn, so rook doesn't take the pawn in the future, maybe, or some other piece. And king, because this pawn was attacking the rook here, king's not taking the pawn yet, because the pawn is protecting the king. So have rook here. This knight is annoying. It's going to get here and possibly here if queen can somehow manage to sustain pawn, which is not anything white wants, especially since after here he is attacking this. So black doesn't want any part of that. So just chop out the piece. That's the main threat. Takes and take the pawn. Now he took the pawn because now there's less pieces on board. Everything has cooled. And after take, we had check, and this pawn was pushed. Where I'm attacking this, and I can possibly defend my only weakness in the position. That's h5 because it's an isolated pawn. Isolated pawns are pawns that can't be protected by like your own by pawns. So let by protected by your pawns. So where as in if you had a G pawn could protect the H pawn. Let's say G pawn was here, it could protect it, but now there is no G pawn existent because he took the G pawn. So now this pawn is isolated, or meaning can't be protected. So that means it is prone to attack. So we have e5, queen f2, defending everything, f2, and whenever black can get in the move d5 without blundering anything, and everything else remains equal in the position, I can 100% guarantee you that black is winning. Black, especially since everything in the position is equal. I mean, white could take this pawn here, which could be prone, which could later be rook a1 and this. But the most thing they should worry about is queen here. Try to go for this or this, especially the pawn here. Because this pawn could become passed if he's able to gang up on these two pawns. So this pawn is one of these two pawns. He has to babysit this pawn, which is kind of sad. But that's what happens when you have weaknesses. Both sides have weaknesses. It just it just white has more. Black has one. Because this isn't that big of a weakness as it can be defended, but this is a weakness. This is truly a weakness. King can't come here, and especially Queen f2 is thinking of nasty moves like Queen f6, which do get checkmated after Rook takes h5. So he is trying to get in. So d5 or some sort of a way to check or something that would protect this and checkmate is fine. So d5 gets the pawn duo in the center, controlling all many squares, and the queen just covers up f6. So it's a it's a simultaneous move doing two things. So it is a pretty good move. e5, queen f3, e4, queen takes h3, and check. So here again, this is a passed pawn, so why not push it? Check. King goes and then queen g6, because white is threatening big time. Checkmate. Oh wait, no, he's not threatening checkmate, but he can go check. Black has to go back, and then black has problems, especially if white plays where's that rook f4 again, ganging up on the pawn here. And if they need to, they can even just play g6, go out for everything. But I think g6 probably never works because of this. So, so, so any counterplay, any resistance cancels off by queen g6, and now you're up a pure pawn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Oh no, sorry, not a pure pawn, but a passed pawn. And a passed pawn is just as good enough as being up a pawn, especially since if you're a grandmaster, which probably you can handle it pretty well. You should be able to handle it pretty well. Okay, so white's last hope. Try to get a pass pawn. Check. I can take. Probably should take, because if here, then there's queen here. Checkmate. So you don't want that. Pawn took. Getting a pass pawn. Now this pawn can come here and support this. So it can be a supported passed pawn. So getting king g6. King c2. Just trying to come to this square. Or this square just blockade the pawn, which is pretty high, which is pretty reasonable. Now, if you're gonna blockade this square, and we can't get our D pawn in here, let's get in our F pawn, because we still have one. F5, rook goes to H3. Because he doesn't want the king to get action down the files, and if the king just ignores, and then the pawn is gonna be a master, so he has to take, but that would cause rook would keep cutting down the king, so then black would need to get like 2 moves in, so he can actually get rook g7, move his king back, so it'll give black more time. Three three move. You can sacrifice a pawn for getting 3 moves, 3 good moves, and and or your rook on the 7th rank. It is usually worth it. So sacrificing a pawn for getting a rook, one of your rooks onto the 7th rank, uh, getting 3 pieces on your opponent's king in like opening or middle game, or just in general getting 3 good moves, not just moves, but good moves. For the 2 moves, it's a maybe, dubious. 3 for sure. 1 probably not. So rook h3, rook h8, rook g3 check. Wait, I have to play that on what I'm doing. H8. So now this pawn can't be defended. So give it up. Check here. Here black doesn't want to trade because this pawn is just going to be powerful. Black and just like easily just grabs as many pawns as he wants because his king has to stay guarding here. So then this game was ended pretty quickly from here after king takes h6. This passed pawn just promoted, and the game ended. So I hope you guys like this opening video, and I hope if you guys like this video, please like, subscribe, and share this video to other people that you think might be beneficial. If you guys want to see any specific opening from yourself, please tell me in the comments down below. Thank you for watching this video. Bye bye.